Good afternoon, my darlings. It's Monday and the 6th of May. Time for another novel for you. Are you ready for an adventure, my darlings? I'll get comfortable and I shall begin. As ending of our bank holiday Monday, of which I have worked all day. So do tell me, was it enjoyable for you? I'm afraid I've been here dealing with people's problems. Oh well, I'm sort of a girl Friday, if you will. Not quite Better Call Saul, but not far off. Yes, I suppose if you have a problem, you will be seeking me out. I have an uncanny knack of attracting people with difficulties in their lives, shall we say. Oh well. Today I bring you Soul Survivor by Koontz. Now, I bought this book when I was 21 years old. Oh, imagine how beautiful and young and child-free, husband-free. Oh, my goodness me. That was to change in a few years, wasn't it? All for the better, I must say, all for the better. Well, Soul Survivor. Quite the intriguing little novel. Yes, it is. Came out October the 9th, 1997 in paperback form by Headline Features. I'll start this novel by saying it's not what you think. People are not what you think. Everybody has many layers, a bit like onions really. And sometimes they're multi-dimensional as well, which is a bit out there. Shadowy government conspiracy theories abound, my darlings. I seem to attract those as well. Oh, to do the job I do. Well, it is a bit of a fire starter kind of novel, if you like. And, well, it's a tragic plane accident that turns into something so much more. The official story of Flight 353 is a lie. They say it was an accident. It was not. They say there were no survivors. There was one. She's a scientist with a secret that will change the world. Yeah, I'll read you the first page so you can have an idea of what you're getting into. The poem, of course. The sky is deep, the sky is dark. The light of stars is so damn stark. When I look up, I fill with fear. If all we have is what lies here. This lonely world, this troubled place, when cold dead stars and empty space. Well, I see no reason to persevere, no reason to laugh or shed a tear, no reason to sleep or even to wake, no promises to keep and none to make. And so at night I still raise my eyes to study the clear but mysterious skies. The arch above us as cold as stone. Are you there, God? Are we alone? The Book of Counted Sorrows. Chapter 1. Lost Forever. At 2:30 Saturday morning in Los Angeles, Joe Carpenter woke, clutching a pillow to his chest, calling his lost wife's name in the darkness. The anguished and haunted quality of his own voice had shaken him from sleep. Dreams fell from him, not all at once, but in trembling veils, as attic dust falls off rafters when a house rolls with an earthquake. When he realized that he did not have Michelle in his arms, he held fast to the pillow anyway. He had come out of the dream with the scent of her hair. Oh, poor man. Now he was afraid that any movement he made would cause the memory to fade and leave him with only the sour smell of his night sweat. Inevitably, no weight of stillness could hold the memory in all its vividness. The scent of her hair receded like a balloon rising, and soon it was beyond his grasp. Bereft, he got up and went to the nearest of two windows. His bed, which consisted of nothing but a mattress on the floor, was the only furniture, so he did not have to be concerned about stumbling over obstructions in the gloom. The studio apartment was one large room, with a kitchen, a closet, and a cramped bathroom, all over a two-car detached garage in Upper Laurel Canyon. After selling the house in Studio City, he had brought no furniture with him, because dead men need no such comforts. He had come here to die. Oh, poor man, he's actually heartbroken, his poor Joe. Yeah, poor Joe. He's lost his wife and his two children in an aeroplane, what he believes was an accident. Terrible, terrible accident. And what happens in this novel is we go on a very bizarre spiritual adventure, if you like, which will leave you questioning your own mortality and your destiny as well, and how far some might go to keep that knowledge and power for themselves and use it for evil. Yeah. It's quite a sad, sad, sad book. You see, poor Joe believes that his family's dead, and he regularly attends the graveyard, of course, where the rest of there wasn't much to bury, put it that way. There wasn't much left of the flight as it landed, and it's sort of the only place he could go, really, to sort of recover from his grief, because poor man, he's just incredibly upset. And that's what this book's about. It's about grief and death, destruction, deception, evil, government, shadowy conspiracy, secret organisations, and children with immense power. And these children aren't normal. Each one of them's got a very unusual gift. Some are for the good and some are for the evil. Yeah. It has quite the religious message going through this book, and there was wanting you to believe in a higher power, in a God, if you like, an intelligent power. Let's think, well, how else am I going to describe it to you? Sometimes it's narrated in the third person perspective, which is a bit odd. So when Dean jumps in and out of sometimes you get confused as to who's talking, and if it's coming from someone's mind rather than outspoken narrative. So it can be a little bit weird that way. He's in pursuit, anyway, is Joe Carpenter, of a very mysterious woman who has walked away. She was the sole survivor of the entire plane crash, even though they said there were no survivors. There's your first clue to it being a very strange conspiracy theory. This sole survivor begins contacting the loved ones of the victims, and after her visits, these people commit suicide in horrific ways. So yeah, she's a bit of a typhoid Mary, sadly. Meanwhile, very powerful people are trying to find this woman and stop her. Now, are they trying to stop her because these people are committing suicide in horrific ways? Ooh, excuse me, been a long day. I don't think it's not not an easy one to understand. Why is she visiting them? Why is she taking photographs of the dead people's headstones? And why are they, after 3 or 4 visits, just popping the clogs, you know, in horrific, well, killing themselves in horrific ways? I mean, after all, it's about Joe Carpenter. Yeah, it's about our Joe. And he's lost his wife and his 2 daughters in a horrific plane crash. He wants to die. He wants to be with them because he can't see any point in living. He goes to visit the graves of them for one last time. And when he arrives, he finds a strange woman taking pictures of the headstone and an FBI shadowy men in black people following her and following him, which is really, really freaking weird. Why is she taking photographs? That's a good question. Why is she taking photographs? And it's because she's got a way to communicate with the dead. Joe doesn't know this yet, but Joe is going to know about this eventually. And poor Joe gets entangled in a very, very dangerous mystery, and unwittingly he becomes a sole survivor as well. It's very hard to describe, really. There's a kid in it, and I'll try not to ruin the plot for you. There's a child in it who has, oh my god man, if this child wasn't drugged up to the eyeballs and sedated constantly, I fear for what would happen to planet Earth, because he has the unique ability to send things one way into a void, if you like, and it can't come back. Now, why on earth they're created, because all these children have been created by this scientific organisation. A bit, oh gosh, bit like in Firestarter, where all the parents, some of them were given this hallucinogenic drug and some weren't. And the ones that were given the hallucinogenic drug, they created Charlie, who is the girl that can obviously set things on fire. Well, in this book, this little boy creates a one-way passage to another dimension, and he disappears things. And how he does it is so freaky. I mean, I don't think I'd want to babysit him. No, I don't think I could babysit that child. Anyway, flipping back a little bit, Joe, he goes up to the woman taking pictures of the FBI chasing through the, through the graveyard. And the officials, he seems, when he starts questioning things afterwards, are attempting to cover up something that could possibly change mankind for all time. Yeah. And so Joe takes it upon himself to start digging for the truth. And what he witnesses and what he discovers is not only strange but absolutely terrifying. Ergo, that kid, right? The one you don't want to babysit. Ever. We end up with some really terrifying and some incomprehensible events. And Joe finds evidence that is impossible for him to ignore. And he finds, when he's going through all of this, he finds a reason to live again. And he realises that the people that are committing suicide aren't really, I think they got some help from the men in black to get offed, make it look like a suicide. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, one of them. And Joe knows that this scientist is keeping a really, really big secret, and she's a very, very special little girl. You remember I told you about Charlie could set things on fire in the fire starter? Well, in this novel, this little girl is for the good, for the goodness in everything, for the life, the light, the love. She is a beautiful little girl, and she'd made friends with Joe's youngest daughter, and when her and the scientist lady went on the run from this organisation, so they couldn't find them, the little girl adopted Joe's younger daughter's name. And so for a long time in the story, Joe actually thinks it's his youngest child that survived, and that's why he's in such massive pursuit of this scientist lady, because he thinks that she's got his child, right? Yeah, I'll get that right. And well, we'll call the scientist, Rose. Yeah, we'll call the scientist girl Rose. Okay. And Nina was the name of Joe's youngest child. Because there's a little poem that goes, Nina, oh Nina, 105, and they used to sing it to each other. And the little girl who's adopted Nina's name knows the poem, so you can imagine Joe's desperation. It's like, oh, my child is still alive, and that feeling that a parent has of, it's, I can't explain it because I have it. Like, even I can't explain it. It's just like, when I know it's my child, my heart just goes and it skips a beat, and I'm like in pursuit of my child. It's like, I'm like a bull at a gate, right? If anybody threaten my child, anybody does anything to my child, I'm like, boom, boom, straight out there. I'm like walling them up, saying, you want to have a go, mofo? Have a go through me first. I'm that kind of parent. Yeah, I'm not one that will, when it comes to protecting my children, I'll belt first and ask questions later. Right? Yeah, I'm just that kind of woman. I know, but that's an awful lot to do with my background. So, yeah, there we are. So, in conclusion to this novel, which seems a little bit patchy for me, I do love this novel, and I think, try not to give the plot away towards the end, but with the aeroplane that sort of didn't have an accident, it was non-accident how it landed, and the scientist that was on board, and the precious cargo that the scientist was carrying, and Joe thinking it's his daughter Nina, you can understand Joe's relentless pursuit of Rose, and to protect the child. Protect this child at all costs, because this child she's the second coming. She is Christ reborn, and the government want her for nefarious reasons, and they've already created, with the other child, the one that can send things to the void, he's sort of like Antichrist, the devil himself, devil incarnate, and these children have been created for a reason, so to be used for terrible, terrible things. And you cannot have the good without having the bad, which is why we've got a little girl, Christ child, little boy, devil, right? And it's what lengths Joe is prepared to go to protect the Christ child, and what the government are prepared to do in order to obtain the Christ child. And it's a cat and mouse thrilling chase throughout the entire novel, and what each set of people is prepared to do in order to obtain something which that should never have been created, and yet here it is, and it has been created, and now it needs protecting. And I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, but it's quite explosive, and Joe is very much the hero, and yeah, that's what I'm not going to spoil anymore for you, because if I say anything else, I'm going to ruin the novel for you. But it's quite a chunky read, and there's some rather scary, gruesome parts within the book, one of which has haunted me for years. And she was the lead investigator into the flight, and she knows it was no accident, but she's been told to shut the F up, because we know where your daughter lives, and we know where her husband works, and we know that they're having a baby, and you want the baby to be born healthy, don't you, madam? Yeah, we're dealing with those kind of people. So this poor woman can't ever tell the truth, because she lives in fear of her family being brutalised and murdered, and they will never know the reason why. The only dying thoughts will be, what the heck did my mother do in order for this to happen to me? So that's the reason why the flight investigator won't say anything. I just feel so sorry for her, because she's desperately wanting to tell Joe the truth, and Joe knows that she's lying, and she knows that she's lying, and I think it's pretty obvious. Everybody knows she's lying, but she won't budge, because she doesn't want anything to happen to her family. And these people have got an awful lot of clout, because they're quite high up in government. It's amazing how the president never knows what's going on, and yet these people are right under his nose. Yeah, I tell ya, White House must be a very strange place. That's all I can say. Very strange. And all these siphoning off of money for these special government programs. Yes, believe me, if you ever find yourself on a special government program, change your name, change your identity and run. Yeah, which is what Joe has to do. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil any more for you, but I do highly recommend it. It's one of those novels that, if you're reading it at night and it's a dark and stormy night, make sure you've got a flashlight handy, because if the lights should go out, like for so many people in this novel, those poor darlings, I feel it for them, I really do. Yes, I bet they wish they brought the Duracell batteries and a torch. Yeah. Mind you, when you're with the Christ child, she can glow for everyone. Anyway, happy readings, darlings, and enjoy. Until the next book.